Welcome to Breaking Friction. The current scramble to deploy artificial intelligence is built on a foundation of geopolitical panic. This dynamic took hold in 2017, when Russian President Vladimir Putin made a blunt public calculation: whichever nation leads in artificial intelligence will rule the world. For Beijing, the turning point came a year earlier. When Google's AlphaGo defeated human champion Lee Sedol, the match was labeled China's Sputnik moment, triggering a state mandate to lead the world in AI theory by 2025. This has created two distinct strategies. Silicon Valley is stripping away regulatory guardrails to pursue artificial general intelligence, operating on the belief that U.S. dominance naturally serves democratic interests. Meanwhile, Beijing is focused on ruthlessly pragmatic integration, wiring narrow AI into industrial robotics and smart city infrastructure. This competition has transformed AI from a standard technological tool into a geopolitical weapon. The result is a global race that requires a volume of physical and financial resources that the market is struggling to supply. While the public focuses on software, the industry is actually in the middle of a massive hardware construction boom. The capital required to build this infrastructure is staggering. Between 2024 and 2025, Microsoft alone plans to spend $80 billion on data centers, with Amazon, Google, and Meta pursuing similarly massive expansions. This infrastructure places a heavy strain on national power grids. In Ireland, data centers accounted for more than 20% of the country's electricity consumption by 2023, forcing the government to impose a moratorium on new construction in the Dublin area. To meet these energy needs, corporations are turning to controversial solutions, such as brokering deals to restart the 3 Mile Island nuclear power plant to provide carbon-free energy for AI operations. Building the hardware for this race requires more cash and power than the industry currently generates from its users. To maintain the pace, developers are turning to complex financial engineering. Historically, large technology companies funded their growth using their own internal cash flows. But the scale of the current AI boom is forcing these firms to seek external funding, moving toward massive debt and private credit. This chart from the Bank for International Settlements documents the shift. The size of anticipated investment needs is requiring firms to move away from operating cash flows and toward debt financing to sustain the boom. Some firms use circular financing. A tech giant invests into a startup. That startup uses the investment to buy hardware from that same giant. This creates an illusion of demand. Valuations inflate based on round-trip capital rather than organic demand. If the market doesn't produce sustainable business models soon, this debt-fueled buildout could result in a sector-wide crash, similar to the dot-com bubble's collapse, leaving the economy with billions in stranded assets. We can see the immediate economic impact of this technology by looking at the U.S. banking sector, an industry that is already integrating generative AI into its daily operations. While AI is often marketed as a productivity booster, the data reveals a paradox. For many institutions, the act of implementing these models actually causes a decline in performance. This decline is the innovation tax. Early adopting banks experience a 428 basis point drop in return on equity during integration. This drop is the result of massive current expenses, specifically acquiring GPUs, cloud infrastructure, and the data scientists needed to manage these systems. The rush to lead in AI is currently draining profitability from critical industries today in exchange for a highly speculative future. This drive for efficiency and the high cost of hardware is leading to a hidden systemic threat: algorithmic coupling. Building independent AI is expensive, so institutions plug into the same foundational models. When multiple banks use identical architectures, their decision-making synchronizes. A failure in that central core triggers a contagion, causing correlated shocks across the entire financial system. This vulnerability is why the European Union is now pushing the concept of digital sovereignty. European leaders are trying to achieve technological independence to avoid becoming digital colonies, dependent on US and Chinese platforms for their critical infrastructure. By treating AI as a geopolitical weapon and building it on a foundation of debt, global powers are hardwiring deep financial and algorithmic vulnerabilities directly into the bedrock of modern society. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay on the cutting edge of what's happening in today's market.